Hello everybody, it's Ren and welcome back to the channel and the practice range. So today I'm going to be covering ruins, and this should be a rather short one. It should be pretty quick, but I'm going to go over the ruins and how they work, and I think I'm going to start with the movement ruins. Now each of the movement ruins is directional, meaning that no matter what, whatever direction you're pushing is the direction you're gonna go. So let's say if you push backwards and you use it, you're gonna go backwards. I was pushing at a slight angle, so I apologize. So if you push backwards, you go backwards. And if you push sideways, you go sideways, and so on and so forth. Now, the spring step is the only one that isn't really that directional when it comes to what direction you're looking at least out of the movement ruins. So that's just something to look out for. It really is just to reposition your height and not use any mana to do so. It's also really good at confusing players by jumping over them, such as so, and then leading up with an attack afterwards. It can be really confusing when someone jumps over you, and there's a certain angle where it gets harder to hit people. So just keep that in mind. It can be really good at repositioning yourself and getting out of a sticky situation. So flight is fully based on what direction you're looking. So if I'm looking this way, I'm going to go this way. If I look that way, I'm going to go that way. If I look up, I go up. If I look down, I go down. And so on and so forth. It's pretty simple. I will say that there is the big downside to using flight. And if someone's good with ice, lightning, or wind, they'll be able to take you out pretty quickly while you're using flight. Now the next one's going to be Shadow Step. Shadow Step is kind of like a combination between dash and invisibility. So it works like that. It's also directional. It's based on which way you're looking as well as what direction you're pushing on your direction. You can also use it to gain height or dash past an enemy player and land an attack before they're able to figure out where you're at. And I think that's about all. So now I'm going to cover dash. Now, just like Shadow Step, Dash and Shadow Step are about the same. The only difference is Shadow Step gives you the invisibility effect, and I think the cooldown for Dash is a little bit lower. But with Dash, you can do things like you can make a full U-turn. You can kind of make a semi-U-turn. You can even make a full circle if you go fast enough. And it is based on what direction you're looking at, as well as which direction you're pushing. So keep that in mind. Just like all the other ones, the only one that isn't affected by that direction thing is flight and spring step. Or, well, spring step isn't affected by which direction you're looking so much, and flight is only affected by which direction you're looking. Pushing on any keys isn't really going to change the way that flight works, at least not to my knowledge. So just keep that in mind. Shadow Step and Dash can be used interchangeably. They're essentially the same ruin, just one gives you a little bit of an added bonus, and one of them cools down a little bit faster. Now, moving on to the other ones, I'm not even sure exactly what to classify these as. One is Teleportation. I wouldn't really classify this as a movement ruin, even though it does allow you to teleport across. I consider movement something that moves you in a certain direction or whatever, and this is just you trading places with the space and time, and you know, like you're literally just moving over to an area. You're not actually getting movement out of it. That being said, it can be used to teleport to different heights and directions and places. So if you want to gain height or get onto a point that somebody might not be suspecting, this is a really good way to do that. It's pretty much exactly where your crosshair is, when things are out of range, so if there's an invisible wall or something in the way, you're not going to be able to teleport there. For example, this is definitely, like, I should be able to teleport to that mana vault. But I'm not going to be able to. But if I look over here, I'm going to be able to. Now, there's going to be certain times where it fades out and it doesn't seem like you can land there, even though it just said that you could land there. And I'm pretty sure that has to do with whether or not you can actually see the spot you're going to. For example, like if I want to teleport over this hill and I drop below the hill, I'm not going to be able to teleport back there if I already triggered it. I've had a few cases where it's been like that. I'm not able to really replicate it every time. It might just be a bug on my end that has remained unreported or something. But as far as I know, as long as you can see where you're going. Oh, see, there it is right there. There's a little spot right over here that I can't teleport to. And I'm not exactly sure why. Now, invisibility is pretty straightforward. It makes you invisible. Now, when you're invisible, I think your teammates and you see this, but enemies just kind of see like a faint shimmer and rainbow effect. It's not really that noticeable. I have a hard time seeing it, so just keep that in mind. Invisibility is a thing in this game, and it might surprise you every once in a while. Now, one that I really want to focus on, because I think a lot of players have a hard time understanding it, and it's probably one of the hardest ruins to master, and it would be Chrono Ruin. Now, the way you would use this is, say you want to come up to an enemy and fight them, but you don't want to take any damage. You can come up here and you can take damage, and everything that happened to you in the span that you were using Chrono is going to revert back to where it was when you first used Chrono. The trick of it is surviving. If you die, well, after you use Chrono, you're not going to come back to life or anything like that. Now, I do have a video where I use Chrono, and I made it a point to use Chrono, and I'm probably going to put clips of that in here just to show you a better use case for it. But moving along to Wolf's Blood. Now, Wolf's Blood is an interesting one. It's kind of like having a wall hack. It also gives you a little bit more movement speed. You'll be able to see players through walls and stuff for however long that talent or the ruin is going to last. And then you'll have to go through the cooldown period, and then you'll be able to reuse it again. Now, almost everyone's favorite, Featherfall. Now, Featherfall is a very use case talent. For example, if you're fighting a Stone Shaper, it's probably one of the best talents you could have. It is also really hard to hit somebody who is floating through the air with most of the gauntlets. That being said, lightning and ice are pretty much, you're just setting yourself up to get shot by them. It's fairly easy to pluck somebody out of the air with ice or lightning if you are adept enough with them. So just keep that in mind. If you ever want to like get down, you just cast a spell and you'll drop down to the ground a little bit quicker. If you're maining stone and you have the whichever one allows you to crash to the ground quicker, that one will almost immediately cancel it and you'll be back on the ground pretty quickly. Alright, well, I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Have a great day.